name's Rich from Beacon Road, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about something I go on and on about all the time. It's about being seen, feeling understood, feeling acknowledged. And I kind of had an epiphany recently for myself, and I wanted to share that because I feel like it might connect with other people as well. If it doesn't connect to everybody, that's okay, because ultimately everything's our own individual ride anyway. So, like anything I put out there, if it clicks, take it. If it doesn't, leave it. And kind of talking about the cycle of feeling seen and feeling heard, and including things like validation and acknowledgement, knowing that your truth and what you bring to the table matters in the whole scheme of things. We all want to feel like exactly that we do matter, and that that this whole world is just a little bit better with our existence in it. However that plays out, I think we all feel that way. I mean, ultimately, if somebody asks me what my goal is for the end of my life, it's that I want to leave this place a little bit better than how I found it. So, in the process, we kind of want to be seen for who it is we are, and what we believe in, and what matters to us, and our story, as we all have one, and we don't give ourselves enough credit for how badass it is. And like I said, I feel it in myself, and I can kind of see it in a lot of people's stories, at least how they perceive to me, that a lot of times in a lot of situations we're desperately trying to get that validation. It could mean a business succeeding, or people listening to your message, or it can mean all kinds of things. Now, what happens when you're not feeling seen, or you feel like you can't be seen for who you are, for your truth? I've found in my own experience that if I can't feel seen, I'll revert back to whatever I need to do to keep myself safe. And that can mean a lot of different things. It can be as simple as going back to things you don't want to do, that don't give you joy, but you feel like you have to do them. It can be a job, or it can be a relationship, going back to something you know doesn't work, but it's what you know, and nothing else seems like it's working. And at least you know how to navigate this shitty situation. So, in a screwed up way, it's safety. Or not knowing how to hear yourself or be heard by others in a situation you're going through, and you go back to a scenario that it could be an old addiction or an old behavior, and of course maybe it doesn't make sense health-wise or mental health-wise, But in a way, it's safety, even though it looks screwed up to the outside world, because it's what you know how to navigate it. And it feels like this is a type of thing that can go in so many different directions. And in so many situations. You know? For you watching, does that resonate for you? Do you feel like you have or have had experiences where you know something doesn't work for you and you're trying to get to a different level, or you're trying to learn a new behavior, or you're trying to heal yourself from past traumas, and all of a sudden it feels like you're alone and you're shoveling shit against the tide and you're not feeling understood, you're not feeling seen. And then you go back to the old way of handling things, and it's a band-aid that gets you through the moment. It's worth continuing to ponder. And I said, I think, and I want to sit through this some more, and love to know how this resonates or doesn't resonate. Because input might help me process this a little bit more, or at least give me another direction, another rabbit hole to look into. So that's what does feeling seen, feeling understood mean? What does it look like? Do you have a checklist that needs to be knocked off in order for that to occur, to at least to feel like it in your mind and in your body? If that doesn't exist, what happens with you? How do you compensate? Or do you compensate? Do you have a way to work around that and keep yourself off track? Or does it knock you back for a loop? I think it's definitely worth continuing this conversation about, because if I follow this path, it feels like, in a way, it starts the conversation to working through a lot of things on a macro level. I mean, anything that we've found ourselves struggling through. Any hot button issue, anything with an ism at the end of it. And let me take this to another level for a bit. If that's the case and we need to be seen and understood, then how do we offer the same to others? Especially when they're coming from a place that is either really foreign to you or really turns you off. Something that your experience finds to be really offensive, even. just because in your mind they're full of shit doesn't it mean that, but does it also not that they don't matter even of that? And if that's the case, how do we get better at trying to understand somebody else and where they're coming from? And by that, I'm not saying, you turn around and agree with them or, giving them lip service. How do we stay in our truth and hold our boundaries while still creating a space or a container or a presence, however you want to word it, to let them feel like they're at least being heard and understood? I think these are important things, especially in the coming days and weeks, that I know I need to sit with. I mean, I think I do a decent job with that. But there's also times where my triggers get the best of me. It happens to all of us. It's kind of part of being human. We're not going to get anything perfect. That's just... And we're not going to get other people to do things perfect in our own eyes. That's just not going to happen. So it's worth just taking that stress away right off the bat. We're not going to get it right. They're not going to get it right every time. But we're going to have our truths and what we hold dear, and other people are going to have theirs, and they're going to look different. And yet we still have to figure out how to coexist. From as small scale as we got to figure out how to get through the, family barbecues without having to have the cops show up, to how do we navigate all these big issues and also realize that the issues we have at the forefront are really just, in many ways, small microcosms of even bigger things that we haven't even scratched the surface of. And these are the conversations I think we need to have, because we need it as a society in general, and we need it as individuals. Because we all deserve to be heard, we all deserve to matter. And it ultimately starts with ourselves. We have to start seeing it for ourselves first. And that stuff's a lot deeper than some catchphrase or cutesy little phrase that we all like to, throw out there. I sell t-shirts with a whole bunch of them in my online shop. So, they're there, they're cool, but they're really just starting points. And it's messy. It's ugly. And a lot of times we just don't freaking want to do it. But now it's worth figuring out how we can see others so that we can see ourselves. It's all intertwined in a way. And let's just keep having these conversations. And there's many to be had. And it's really where it all starts. A coffee and a conversation. Or tea or juice or water if you're inclined, but that's where it all starts. With being seen and feeling seen. So let's keep talking. If you made it through this far, thanks for watching. And check out some of my other stuff, my podcast, my website. And feel free to subscribe if it calls to you. Take care, be safe, and be well.